You're listening to Civic Media. Stay up to date on the latest news and information for your local community and Wisconsin by signing up for our free email newsletter. Visit civicmedia.us/email to get started. This is your WGBW Daily News Roundup for the Talk of Green Bay, 97.9 FM and 1590 AM.
Civic Media News. I'm Terry Bell. Here's what Wisconsin needs to know. A task force from Wisconsin is helping with Hurricane Helene relief. Members of Wisconsin Task Force 1 have specialized training and capabilities which can deploy in Wisconsin and beyond. 16 members of the Swiftwater Rescue Team left over the weekend to help with search efforts in North Carolina. They come from 8 fire departments from across the state. Donald Trump returns to Milwaukee for the first time since accepting the Republican nomination for president. Stuart J. Waddles reports.
Trump delivered a subdued speech focusing on educational matters, particularly criticizing the low reading proficiency rates in Milwaukee public schools. The former president also addressed recent events in the Middle East.
I think even Iran would have been in the Abraham Accords. Ultimately, it would have been great for everybody, and you would have had peace in the Middle East.
Stuart J. Waddles, Civic Media News.
Kamala Harris campaigns in the Fox Valley tomorrow. The Wisconsin Democratic Party is outraising the state Republican Party at a rate of almost 4-1 this year. The Democrats have raised nearly $20 million, while the state GOP has pulled in not quite $5 million. Both parties filed their September fundraising reports this week. Big donations are driving the numbers for both parties. Democrats and Republicans in Wisconsin have picked new presidential electors. 10 Wisconsin Republicans posed as fake electors for Donald Trump 4 years ago. They agreed to a settlement last year that called for them to admit Joe Biden won. They also agreed not to serve as electors in any election involving Trump. A new report on agribusiness consolidation calls for better enforcement of antitrust laws. The report's author is Basil Musharbish.
It doesn't have to be this way. These firms are smart and powerful. They've executed strategies over decades. The U.S. government allowed it because we made policy decisions not to enforce the antitrust laws. We can take action to fix that.
The report finds decades of mergers have reduced competition, leading to higher costs for farmers and consumers. The risk of wildfires is higher than normal this week. The Department of Natural Resources is asking people to check for fire danger levels before doing any outdoor burning. The forecast calls for dry, windy weather. The main cause of wildfires this time of year is burning brush and leaf piles. Terry Bell, Civic Media News. Here's what you need to know closer to home.
For WGBW News, I'm Lisa Hale. The vice presidential debate between Tim Walz and J.D. Vance brought several dozen people to the Outagamie County Democratic headquarters last night for a watch party. Wisconsin Attorney General Josh Kaul spoke before the debate.
We are 5 weeks away from what I believe is the most important election in any of our lifetimes, and we have made so much progress in Wisconsin.
In the meantime, presidential candidate Kamala Harris will be in Northeast Wisconsin on Thursday. Some reports claim the event will be at Ripon College. A large fire at an apartment complex in Howard Tuesday leaves the residents of about a dozen units displaced. The Howard Fire Department was called to Northern Pines Apartments on Memorial Drive just after 6 o'clock yesterday. All second-floor apartments caught fire, and officials estimate about $750,000 in damage. No one was injured in the blaze, and the Red Cross will be helping those impacted by the fire. Most of Wisconsin is under a high fire threat today, with many counties in northwest Wisconsin under a very high fire threat. The Wisconsin DNR wants the public to avoid outdoor burning and campfires while the threat's so high. There is a potential for increased fire activity due to dry weather and gusty winds. Thanks to the efforts of an undercover police officer from the Outagamie County Sheriff's Department, 41-year-old David J. Fuchs, formerly of Janesville, has been sentenced to 25 years in federal prison for attempting to sexually exploit a 12-year-old child. Fuchs is a registered sex offender with prior convictions for attempted second-degree sexual assault of a child and sexual assault of an intoxicated victim. 23-year-old Yenneker Avila Acevedo, who has a Venezuelan passport, pleaded guilty to felony theft and 2 misdemeanor charges in connection to the theft of $38,000 from an ATM at Union Credit Union in Kaukauna. 5 other suspects have been arrested and await court dates. Previously, State Representative Dave Murphy of Greenville suggested the suspects may be part of a Venezuelan gang. Kaukauna police say they have no evidence of that. We Energies and WPS want to raise rates. You can let them know how you feel about those plans by submitting public comments online at psc.wi.gov. The plan would raise typical monthly bills by nearly $24 for We Energies and a little more than that for WPS. The rate increase is already facing opposition from environmental groups concerned about affordability and clean energy goals. You have until October 7th to submit your comments online. The League of Women Voters of Appleton Fox Cities is hosting a panel presentation on the state of reproductive health care in Wisconsin, addressing the changes in the state following the 2022 Dobbs decision and other court rulings. The virtual webinar is October 7th from 6:30 till 8 p.m. Registration is required to receive the Zoom link. See our story at WGBW.FM for a link and more information. And that's what you need to know. I'm Lisa Hale, WGBW News.
The Brewers face elimination tonight. Hi, I'm Jimmy Kuska with sports, filling in for Mike Clemens. The Brewers will play the Mets today in Game 2 of the best-of-3 wildcard round. Yesterday, the Mets defeated the Brewers 8-4, retiring the final 17 batters to take the win. Manager Pat Murphy said the Brewers will need to respond today after not being able to put anything together late in yesterday's game.
This team has responded in all those. Remember, the Dodgers beat the daylights out of us twice. We responded. The Yankees beat the daylights out of us twice. We responded. I think we'll respond.
Willie Adames says the Brewers know it's all on the line tonight.
Like we say all year, we are undaunted. We're going to come out and give the 100% out there on the field, and we got to win or we go home. So the mentality is we got to win no matter what. We got to figure out a way to win and do our best.
First pitch is after 6:30 p.m. If the Brewers win, they'll play a decisive Game 3 tomorrow evening. The Green Bay Packers will try to bounce back this week as they play the LA Rams on Sunday after losing last weekend to the Minnesota Vikings. Jordan Love is expected to make his second straight start after missing 2 games with a sprained MCL. Kickoff this Sunday against the Rams is after 3 p.m. on Sunday. The Milwaukee Bucks announced their 2024 training camp roster on Monday. Camp begins tomorrow for the Bucks. Filling in for Mike Clemens, I'm Jimmy Kuska with Civic Media Sports.
On your entertainment beat, I'm Pete Schwaba. Things will not get any easier for Sean Diddy Combs. His enemies are coming out of the woodwork, and that includes 50 Cent. The rapper teamed up with Netflix to make a docuseries about Combs' sex scandal. 50 Cent's real name is Curtis Jackson, and he said he's been warning people about Combs for years. He followed up a social media post about the docuseries with a picture of baby oil in reference to the thousands of bottles that were found during an FBI raid on Combs' homes in Miami and Los Angeles. Proceeds from the doc-series will go to assist victims of sexual abuse. FIFA has announced that the World Cup will have its first halftime show. The World Cup in 2026 will be at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey and follow in the footsteps of American football, or the NFL, with a championship game halftime show. International advocacy organization Global Citizen just signed a 4-year partnership with FIFA and will produce the show. The group's mission is to end extreme poverty. Okay, DC Comics fans, there is yet another movie in the pipeline. A film that will feature Batman villains Deathstroke and Bane is being developed. The Hollywood Reporter says the project is in the early stages. How early? There is only a writer and producer attached. The studio is in the middle of its search for a director and actors. Update your resumes. We haven't heard much from Haley Joel Osment lately, although he does turn up from time to time. As an 11-year-old, the actor was Oscar nominated for his role in The Sixth Sense opposite Bruce Willis. Despite his tender age, the two became friends, and Osment said the friendship with Willis lasted long after the shooting, as Willis would call to check in on him from time to time over the years. Willis was diagnosed with dementia 2 years ago at the age of 69. Inside Out is the gift that keeps on giving to its fans and obviously to those who created the film. Disney has announced the film received 31 million plus views in its first 5 days of release on Disney+. According to Variety, this is the biggest premiere for a film on Disney+ since 2021's Encanto. The film is the highest grossing animated film of all time and so far the highest grossing film of 2024. Frankie Valli is speaking up. Not on stage, he's been lip-syncing there. After rumors that Valley has been forced on stage to perform, the 90-year-old legend says he is there of his own choosing because he loves to perform. In addition to seemingly going through the motions, Valley has looked frail in concert videos that have gone viral. Valley released a statement to People.com clarifying that he is not being forced on stage, although the statement was in print, so there was no way to tell if it was lip-synced. For more showbiz fun, tune in to Nightlight with me, Pete Schwaba, weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Mostly sunny today. We'll get to around 71 for a high this afternoon, and it will be a bit breezy at times. Wind southwest 10 to 20, gusting to 25. Tonight, clear, breezy, 48. Tomorrow, sunshine, 74. On Friday, mostly sunny with a high of 69. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable. Outside now, it's 46.
That's your WGBW Daily News Roundup from Civic Media. Subscribe to this podcast on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you find your podcasts. Find more news at WGBW.FM. The national news cycle never stops, but it can be hard to find news about your local community. Civic Media is dedicated to providing quality local and state news coverage across Wisconsin. With the Civic Media app, you can get notifications about local stories that matter to you and your community. Find the free Civic Media app in your phone's app store and choose notifications from the menu to tell us what kind of news you want to hear about.